Happy Friday, everybody. You made it through another week. Deserve a pat on the back just for that. And if you're wondering, is their coaching situation resolved yet? Who the hell knows? But I got Armando Lara, the professor, the host of Spreewell Was Right, a man who's tenured. That is his level of acumen, ladies and gentlemen, at UC Berkeley, one of the most prestigious universities on the planet. And we get together every Friday to talk Warriors. It's what we do. Armando, how are you doing, brother? I know we were talking a lot before we started recording, but on the air publicly, how the hell are you doing, man? Good to see you.
I'm doing good, man. It's nice to see some friendly faces in the chat.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
I have a hard time pronouncing his last name. Yeah. How do you pronounce
Urquidez?
Urquidez. Okay, yeah.
Urquidez family?
I met that guy in real life. That guy knows ball, man. He knows ball.
Good. I feel like anybody who actually knows ball is going to be in this chat and part of the program. It's all the casual fools out there. Armando, I don't know how disappointed you felt seeing the number of Warriors fans who were tracking the Hawks series like it was the Warriors playing, only the Warriors were playing the role of the Knicks. Like they literally were just hanging their hats on every game in the series, completely ignoring the fact that their own team has a draft lottery around the corner. It's insanity, dude. Did you notice that too?
I noticed a lot of we're Warriors fans watching the Hawks very closely. It was a freaking blast.
See, look at this guy. Like they're in the chat too. This clown right here. And now, granted, they do call themselves Pooh Brain Love Scat, so it is an apropos handle. Writing the superstar predicted posting a -40. And again, this is where the low IQ comes in. No coincidence. It's all the Steve Kerr apologists, right? He was his propagandic skills. Steve Kerr's was able to dupe the lowest IQ of Dub Nation. Case in point, clowns like this. Individual net rating means nothing. Not to mention, Pooh Brain Love Scat. Where were you when Kuminga was leading the Hawks to 2 playoff wins? You were damn quiet then. That's why no one can take clowns like you seriously. This is literally happening. Armando, just no reaction to that? The fact that people like this exist?
Is that a real person? Because I don't see a face.
Because I blocked them because they followed up doing what I repeatedly said. Don't bring the hosts into the chat. And I
didn't see a face or a name attached to that opinion. So I don't. Is that a real person or is that
It's definitely a real person. I don't think bots are infiltrating the chat. Is it a person we know the identity of? Of course not, because all these clowns, unless they're credentialed, and then they don't hide their Steve Kerr sycophancy, but all the fanboys out there, they love being anonymous, and that was another anonymous person. So I like this term, a Kerr sexual. Now we're talking. The reign of Kerr continues. It looks like we're not going to get an answer until at least next week.
So
ignorance.
I got a question for you, Cy.
Please.
Which team is going to get the top assistant on OKC? Dave Bliss is 40 years old. He played 4 years at the University of Georgia. He's a big man, very cerebral, scholar, athlete, player development, and he was in charge of opposition scouting report for the Thunder. Sam Presti hired this guy, 40 years old. He ain't no old dude. Who's going to get him first? The Golden State Warriors or the Atlanta freaking Hawks? That's what I want to know. Who is going to fire their coach first and get Dave Bliss on the OKC? The other guy to look at is Sean Sweeney, 41 years old, top assistant for the Spurs. He was the guy that developed Giannis, Blake Griffin, Luka, coaches superstars. Who is going to get these 40-year-old guys and give them a chance and stop retreading old coaches? Who's going to do it? Is it going to be the Atlanta Hawks or the Golden State Warriors? Two teams that went down the same way, playing ball against tanking teams and not knowing how to pivot when things got real. So that's what I want to know.
Is that shade you're throwing at Quinn Snyder?
Oh man, we after game 4, the cousin Andres, we were already looking at new coaches for the Hawks, man. We can't wait. The Hawks are honestly the best. Losing by 50 plus, we were so happy. Best possible outcome for the Hawks. Best possible outcome. Everybody who is a Hawks fan should be freaking excited and happy they lost by 50 plus. I wish they would have lost by 75 plus. It was so beautiful to watch. And for the following reason, that team has a fork in the road. Are they going to go down playing 3 guards and playing 2-way players and Gabe Vincent because you think you need connectors out there? Or are you going to unleash your squad?
Yeah.
Unleash your team the way it's top players. In games 2 and 3, the Hawks were in foul trouble and they were forced to play the right way. And oh, Cyrus, I had so much fun as a fan of the sport watching them in games 2 and 3. I was able to like actually turn my coaching brain off and my scouting brain off, and just like I'm like on the floor begging for CJ to hit the final shot, or like literally like a fan. I was actually able to kind of be like a Bubble Boy fan. Like it was really fun. And then you get to games 4 and 5 and you're like, you can't root for a team that isn't self-aware to know what's going on. Sprewell was right, is batting 1,000 this year, and it's continued. As I said in the regular season, they were way too reliant on CJ McCullough, and he wasn't going to be able to do that for 4 wins in a playoff series. And relying on him meant it wasn't just his offense that took a dive. It's that relying on him meant that they could not play their best defensive lineups, which was all wings. They were playing 3 guards. Nikhil and CJ should have been backing each other up, and playing next to Dyson Daniels. I know why the coach thought that, but that is not a good defensive lineup. And they played their guards. They went small like Steve Kerr does for connectors. And it was terrible. And I'm glad they lost by 50 because now Quinn Snyder has 2 50-point. He went out like that twice. 2021, he had a great Utah Jazz team. They were up, what was that, 3-1, or I don't know what it was. They lost 3 in a row. Out. Yeah. Same shit. They blew up a young team because of that fool. And last point on this, all the talk is they're just A, not experienced, and B, they need to play tougher. That is just grade A loser high school JV coaching talk. That's what
we'll get much more in detail with the Hawks. I see someone in the chat, Adam Adams, calling you out, Professor, on that perfect record on Sprewell was right. I'll let you address that in just a moment. We're talking Steve Kerr. We're talking Draymond Green. I see in the chat as well, Riz bringing up Draymond's comments on his show pertaining to his role with the Warriors and certain comments that Steve Kerr made in that New Yorker article. I always forget to highlight these things when I should, so I can actually show them on the screen when it's apropos. Oh, here it is right here. Riz saying, did you see what Dre said about Kerr? You're goddamn right. And we're going to play that sounder and talk about it. It's Friday, maybe most importantly. We're powered by both Sunrun right there. Save some money, folks. We don't endorse things that we don't wholeheartedly believe in. It is not a catch. It sounds too good to be true, yet it's true. You can save money and disconnect from the grid. You don't have to waste your money on greedy, corrupt utility companies like PG&E anymore, because we're powered by Sunrun. You can be too. Click on that link. Click on it in our YouTube and or podcast description. We're also powered by FanDuel, and the program is called the Golden Days Happy Hour Edition.
When you're keeping it real, goes good to be real sometimes.
You gotta start acting more like me and my team.
I keep it real.
We do keep it real here. We're powered by FanDuel, as we mentioned just a moment ago. Some great lines available now. And even before I get to that, really quickly, let me reintroduce the professor, Armando Lara. You can follow him on Threads at Mando_man10. You can follow him on Twitter at Armando Lara, M as in Mary. And the program that he hosts is called Spreewell Was Right. Subscribe to that on YouTube, please. My name is Cyrus Saatsaz. You can follow me on Threads and Instagram at Dog Wild, over on Twitter at Surf Journalist. The program on both platforms at Golden Days Pod. The NBA postseason, Armando, has been titillating. Absolutely remarkable action between two teams. 8 series going on. I'd say 6 out of 8. Absolutely fantastic. One of those was a clear-cut blowout, OKC. That was expected. But nearly every other series has been remarkable, and the action continues tonight with the Pistons trying to stave off elimination, a number 1 seed being ousted by an 8 seed, most infamously accomplished by your We Believe 2007, 2008, or no, 06-07 Golden State Warriors led by Baron Davis. Well, Orlando's trying to do the same thing. And the Pistons are favored tonight in Orlando by 3.5 points. The money line for that just changed right before my eyes. Orlando, if you think they're going to close this out tonight, the money line plus 136. We'll start there, Armando. I feel like the Franz Wagner injury, a man who does not epitomize durability. That dude is quickly turning into Mr. Glass when he plays, when he's active. And that Orlando team is fully healthy. You see why sportsbook prognosticators gave them an over-under of 50-plus wins before the season started. They have talent, but it's hard to keep that talent on the court. It's hard to keep them healthy. And tonight, will Detroit make this a 7-game series, Armando, or will Orlando close it out? Your thoughts?
No clue. I'm not a big Orlando fan. I think they're all fake. I think Franz can't shoot. I think T-Rex Arms is imposter. And I think they spent 5 draft picks trying to get him, and they're the 10th seed in the friggin' East. So they just looked out against this Pistons team. So I don't think, and I think Orlando Magic are fully maxed out. That is their team. Everybody's like capped out. So that's what it is. And all the dumb Zach Lowe, all the dumb national people that said that trading for that T-Rex Arms guy was going to take them into a championship level contention. They are desperate for this Magic team to just sneak out this win and to look like they were right about that trade. I mean, we knew when that trade was going down, it was over, that we're done. That team's not going anywhere. Even if they win this series, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah. I don't think there's a chance in hell they're getting out of the second round. Although the second round opponent is going to be either Cleveland or Toronto. So in a weird way, as you're slandering the Magic, and I'm not pushing back on that, but you're only as good or bad as your opposition, and the postseason is so much about matchups, as evident by this series, which Orlando leads 3-2, despite being the 8th seed. If Orlando wins tonight, I don't think it's inconceivable, Armando, that the Magic will make the Eastern Conference Finals, because I could see them beating Cleveland and or Toronto. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, they could beat them, but they still wouldn't be going anywhere. They're not that team is maxed out. So it's not a championship level team. So they could beat the next round too. Fine. I
will say this: if you're an Orlando Magic fan, your fortunes have flipped in a hurry. Your emotions, which have probably been in the gutter most of the season, are through the roof right now. So kudos to you for the few and far in between known as the Orlando Magic fan base. That's not the only. Again, this NBA postseason has been remarkable. We shift gears to Cleveland and Toronto. They're also playing tonight. That is Game 6. Cleveland leads that series 3-2. Game 6 in Toronto. And the Cavaliers favored to close that series out tonight. They're favored by 4.5 points. If you think Toronto is going to make this a 7-game series, the money line for that plus 172. The OU 218.5. Armando, is Cleveland going to close this series out tonight, or is Scotty Barnes and company going to make it a 7-game series?
I have no idea.
I don't either. I have no clue. The only advice I'd give you is don't even bet on that unless you feel strongly about one way or the other. And maybe the series that excites me the most, 3 games tonight on the docket. One of many reasons why I'm elated we're doing an early edition of Happy Hour so we can watch all these games. The Lakers and the Rockets. Armando, I'd be lying if I told you and the public that I was not giddy, jumping out of my seat, metaphorically speaking, at the prospect of LeBron James, the same man who cried to the NBA to get Draymond Green suspended for Game 5, the same man who, because of that suspension, took full advantage of it and came back from a 3-1 deficit to beat the Warriors in 2016, the 73-win Warriors in heartbreaking fashion. Karmic justice is now 2 games away from being achieved. Imagine social media, that toxic cesspool. It doesn't matter what platform it is. They're all shitholes. But imagine how fun and exciting any of these platforms are going to be if LeBron James is the face of the first team in NBA history to blow a 3-0 series lead. I am giddy about this. Sorry for being redundant with the language, but Armando, are you as excited as I am about LeBron possibly being the face of a 3-0 blown lead in the postseason?
What? Why don't you like LeBron? LeBron's one of the greatest players of all time. What? Well, LeBron's great.
For the podcast audience, Armando has a shit-eating grin on his face as he's saying that. Just so you know. Riz is rooting for the Rockets. I'm also rooting for the Rockets. There's a lot of reasons to root for the Rockets if you're a Warriors fan, besides the fact that if you're petty like me and you want to see LeBron and his fan base all just go up in flames, which is what would happen if LeBron's the face again of a 3-0 blown series lead. But think about this as well. And real quick, the line for that game tonight, Game 6, the Rockets are 3.5-point favorites to make this a 7-game series in Houston. If you think the Lakers are going to pull off the win tonight, the money line is plus 138, the over under 205.5. All of those lines courtesy of our official sportsbook, FanDuel. And Armando, the other wrinkle to this is if the Lakers win, you know what? I don't even know if it matters who wins. I think these are Kevin Durant's last days with the Rockets. And a year ago, when it was in the news that the Warriors were in the running to trade for Kevin Durant. This was, again, a lot happens in a year. A year back, Kevin Durant was with the Suns, wore out his welcome there like he does in nearly every stop he makes. And the talk about Kevin Durant being traded to the Warriors, you had a lot of folks, myself included, who were vehemently opposed to that, largely because the primary trade piece that would have been involved in that deal was Jonathan Kuminga. And I did not like the idea of mortgaging your future for a win-now player like Kevin Durant. We fast forward a year later, there is no future to give away for Kevin Durant because the Warriors just gave that piece away anyways to the Atlanta Hawks. But the Kevin Durant piece for a Warriors team that is at this weird crossroads next season, where on one hand you have Steph and Dre. Steph's going to turn 39. Draymond Green's going to turn 37. Hopefully the draft will produce some incredible results. The Kristen Peak interview a couple days ago, if you missed that, go check it out. That is not going to date itself. Kristen giving her feedback on the draft prospects. AJ DeBonsa. Let's pray to the basketball gods that they bless the Warriors with this kid. But the Warriors are at this crossroads where next season, on one hand, you're going to be trying to placate the veterans like Steph and Dre. On the other hand, you're going to be focusing on developing talent, including that draft lottery pick. What I'm trying to say here is that I don't think it's the worst thing in the world for Kevin Durant to come back to this team next year. His stock is never going to be lower. You're never going to see less teams interested in making a trade for Durant, but Durant's only going to want to come here if Steve Kerr's out. I don't hate a future next season where you have a veteran core of Steph, Dre, Durant. Hell, bring Klay Thompson back. I know some people are even clamoring for LeBron James to join this party. You'd have to trade Jimmy Butler to get Kevin Durant back. But again, chances are you'd only have to include a pair of second-round picks, maybe a first-rounder in 2034. The price has never been lower for Kevin Durant. What are your thoughts on that future with the Warriors next season? I wouldn't hate it.
Well, do you guys want me to keep it real, or should I just
always
should I also attempt to just sell tickets?
Let me play the show over.
When you're keeping it real, goes good to be.
Yeah, we want to keep it real here. Yes.
Yeah,
keep that shit real.
Kevin Durant is injured in the playoffs now. Steph Curry didn't even make it to the All-Star break with a old man fatigue injury. And Jimmy Butler is 36, going to be 37 next year with a catastrophic knee injury. No, I don't think re-signing Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson, who is not a winning NBA player as of 4 years ago, would result in any kind of discernible winning of being able to play 4 rounds in the playoffs. So, but if you do want to sell season tickets to Bay Area bubble fans, then yeah, I think it is a good business decision. I'll put it that way.
Well, I don't know what the alternative is. Like the only plan forward for the Warriors, if they're going to keep Steph and maybe to a lesser extent Dre, is a 2-timeline approach. The very same approach that so many people ripped on, and the only reason why it failed was because of Steve Kerr, not actually trying to make it work. You have to put effort into these things if you want them to actually come into fruition. And the 2-timeline plan, it's back. Except this time you have no choice. It's this or nothing. It's this or this. It's like there are no options here. Steph is coming back. Draymond probably coming back. Steve Kerr, I pray on everything that's listening, will not come back, but they're coming back. So you can't have like a full rebuild. You also can't go all in on veterans because that would be the dumbest move imaginable. I guess what I'm trying to say is if you're talking about trading the Warriors' number 11 pick and or their lottery pick, let's say you want to swing for the fences to get someone like Giannis, right? Dumb. That is an absolutely moronic move for the exact reasons you said, Armando. Steph cannot stay on the court anymore. Draymond Green, yeah, he can stay on the court, but Draymond on his own does not produce winning basketball. Draymond is a complementary piece to Steph and Curry. It's a tandem. It's either they're both out there or it becomes a rather feckless operation, provided Steph is out. Steph can do anything he wants on his own. But with the Draymond piece of it, you need Steph in order for that to actually look good. My point is, this is the future of the Warriors next year. 2026, 2027, the Warriors will not be championship contenders, barring a miracle. The Warriors are going to be a 2-timeline team because Stephen Curry wants to finish his career with the Warriors. And me personally, I don't hate that idea. I think you can make it work. You just have to 2-timeline it. And you also have a potential lottery pick. The cynics out there think the Warriors are going to get the number 1 pick in the draft because they think the NBA rigs this thing. And for whatever reason, I'm hearing a lot of narratives out there that the Warriors are the ones who are getting the shining a beacon on them as the team that is going to get rewarded with a high pick. Let's hope these narratives come true. They're just narratives. Who the hell knows what any of that means? My point is, this is the reality of the future for your Warriors. Am I wrong? Am I talking crazy, Armando?
Well, I guess I would add, I agree it's the reality, but the reality is it's not going anywhere, which means they're fucked. The only way they're not fucked is if they happen to get a top 4 pick this year.
Or 11. Or 11. You don't like 11?
No, a top 4 pick where they would actually be forced to draft the franchise player and keep them and actually pivot to a rebuild. If they go on and trade that for Giannis or Kawhi Leonard, which is a season ticket selling move, then the only thing that's going to get them is to the play-in again. With Giannis, they're going to just get to the play-in. Like, they're just going to duplicate what they've been doing and go out maybe in the second, hopefully the third, if everything breaks their way. But, like, this is not a winning formula. And unfortunately for them, they're changing the tanking rules next year. So, like, I keep trying to hammer this home, and I've been trying to think about giving it a concept so that the Bubble Boy fans could actually easily absorb it. But the Bay Area light years Bubble Boy fans, but the Warriors,
Toxic group, man. Toxic, ignorant group.
Warriors,
Ignorantly toxic group. However you want to put it.
the Warriors have been in the play-in because everybody below them has been hard tanking.
Correct.
There is no possible way
Correct.
that the Al Horford-led Porzingis team would have even sniffed the playoffs if any of those teams weren't tanking in a historically good draft. And so now that those rules are changed and the Warriors are the one with the bad team, all of those teams are going to be better. The Jazz are going to be better. Everybody's going to be better. And I don't know how they're going to survive that. I really, frankly, don't, with their relying on old, injured vets playing a heliocentric style of basketball. That is.
Can I give you an alternative, outlook on the future that is not as negative?
You can try.
I'll try. I'll do my best. The Warriors don't bring back Steve Kerr. The Warriors hire a head coach who actually is intelligent, who actually has some common sense, who actually is not going to run a team like Stephen Curry is still 32 years old, and you can run him to the ground, treating him like he's the sun. What if you have a coach who comes in, understands that Stephen Curry has to be treated like porcelain because he's turning 39 this year? That means he's never playing in back-to-backs ever again, meaning he has a very hard 30-minute restriction, and some games might even be at 25. A coach who's smart enough to treat the veterans, like aging veterans, and preserve them for the postseason instead of running them to the ground in the regular season, while simultaneously playing whoever the Warriors draft, whether it's a Yoxel with the number 11 pick. Is it Luxembourg? I forgot how you pronounce his last name, but the kid from Michigan, who Kristen was just singing high praise for, got me all excited for him. Or if it's like a top 4 pick, let's say you get number 1, you get AJ DeBonsa. I think, this is just me, and part of this is I'm not going to diminish Stephen Curry's value, because I still think he has the talent, and I still think if you handle him right, he can be very serviceable. But again, it's going to take a coach that is not Steve Kerr, because Steve Kerr just, again, he's grossly limited up here. I don't think people understand that. Like, there is a lot of rhetoric from folks behind the scenes who, some of them are in positions of power with the Warriors. Some of them are just the brightest minds in basketball. It is a universal take. It's all sadly off the record. I don't understand this autonomy that Steve Kerr has earned in this world, where it's like some sort of like faux pas to criticize him based on the perspective of so many. I don't understand any of that, because the reality is he's not that smart of a human being. Let him run for politics. Let him coach another team if you need that truly proven. Never mind the fact that in his 12 years as head coach, 6 of them, they made the NBA Finals. The other 6, underachievements. And the 6 years that were underachievements, they didn't have to be that bad. It was a gross example of Steve Kerr's incompetence. 6-6, 500 record. And this is the guy that people want to just kiss his ass until the end of time. I'll never understand that. My point is, if you bring a competent head coach, you have who can actually manage Stephen Curry's minutes respectfully, who can also integrate some young pieces in there. I'm not as doom and gloom on the Warriors next season if they do a 2-timeline thing as some folks are. I actually think they can make some noise. A championship? No. But a 5 seed? Maybe even avoiding the play-in? Maybe. I mean, you're right. Utah's going to be way better next year. I don't know if Phoenix is going to be way better next year. I think the Warriors can leapfrog a team like them. Dallas will be better, but I don't know if they're going to be a better in Cooper Flagg's year 2, where they're going to be a playoff team. I don't know if they're there yet. I don't know if any of these other tanking teams outside of maybe New Orleans can make some noise next season. I also see a lot of teams on the top side who might be taking a step down. Denver, Houston. I'm not as doom and gloom on the Warriors next season as you are. And again, that's provided Kerr doesn't come back. That's the massive if. If Steve Kerr comes back, this whole thing is just another shitstorm for another year or two, and it's just depressing, going nowhere. And you have people like Adam Adams, who, side note, Adam, I see all of your posts. We will get to it in a second. You don't have to spam the chat to get our attention. We see it. But I think there is a path next season where the Warriors can have an optimistic season, where you're excited about this rookie who's taking leaps as the season goes along. Stephen Curry's managed properly, where he's still producing and he's staying on the court because you have a coach who understands you can't run him to the ground. I'm not as doom and gloom, I guess. And Will Richard could take a leap. I could see that with the new coach next year. I don't know. Am I talking? What are your thoughts on what could be a ridiculous take for me?
Well, I got lots of thoughts, and you convinced me a little bit. But one, I just wanted to give a shout out. We at Sprewell was right. We did a nice breakdown of Steve Kerr's New Yorker article. We ripped on it so hard that I actually had to take it down because I was a little worried that it would get spliced, because we were saying some crazy stuff, man. It was funny. But so
give us one of the takes. Repeat one of the takes, please.
If you were live, yeah. I mean, we went into the racial dog whistle politics of that article, so that was pretty fun. But the thing I wanted to highlight that happened in some of that exchange, which will lead me to seeing what you're saying. It leaked that Lacob wants, if they're going to bring Kerr back, they want to know that he's going to get into the quote unquote actual quote nitty gritty of trying to win every night. And this is what I've been saying about hiring a new coach, Cyrus. Like, I don't want to hear anybody talk about no retread old coach. Bringing in an older person with some track record, and that, like Mike Malone or some bullshit like that. I'm talking
Malone's
about
gone, so that doesn't matter. But
I'm talking about
what about one name that's a weird one, and it would be one of those names that it wouldn't move the needle. It would be one of those picks where you just kind of like, you just go, okay. It's like you're it's like issuing a C grade to someone. It's like it's average. It's I don't hate it. I'm not excited. I'm trying to think of a good food item that's in comparison to this. It's like getting a hamburger with no cheese, no lettuce, no tomatoes. It's just a burger and a bun, and you're like an In-N-Out burger with nothing on it except just the meat and the bun. You're like, okay, I'll eat this, but where's the rest of it? Billy Donovan. Yeah, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's the kind of pick they went with. Someone who's probably competent. Our boy Frank Red on this program, it's literally his high school teammate. It would be a phenomenal grab for this show, because if Billy Donovan is the next head coach of the Golden State Warriors, he will be a guest on this program. Thanks a large part to our boy Frank Red. But Billy Donovan, what would be your thoughts if it was a guy like that?
So what I was saying is they need to get an assistant coach who has not made a name for themselves in this league. Zero head coaching experience. That's the kind of guy that started with the Suns this year. And they have to be in their 40s. I'm not talking about no person pushing 60. And the reason is because you need a guy who's hustling, who's desperate.
Agreed.
To win every single game and put in the hard work of scouting every game and developing young guys every night. That's the guy they need. Those are in 2026, you can't just coast in the regular season anymore. You have to hustle for every win. And so that tells me, and this is why I brought that up, if they can get a coach that's in his 40s, is a high pedigree assistant coach like the ones on the Spurs and OKC Thunder that I outlined at the beginning of this show. If they could get that, and Cyrus, and they could trade for freaking Giannis or something like that, then maybe I would be interested in seeing what this team does next year in terms of not being a play-in team. Like, the ceiling is not being a play-in team. Then the difference between to get at what you're saying, like there would be some interest in level hope, but it would basically mean me going from not giving a shit at all, this team is totally effed, to like, oh, let me see how they're talking about the preseason.
I'll take that. It's better than this team is effed, Like I'd rather have some hope. What about a guy like Todd Golden? of the University of Florida, who initially, look, I'm not high on college coaches taking that leap. That's just me. The track record is not conducive where you can trust that pattern. Suddenly flipping scripts and being successful. Todd Golden, the only reason why I'm not completely down on that idea, I'm not down on it, period. I'm just, I just don't know. It's just a blank slate. But Todd Golden did play professionally, I think in Israel. And I know that's a minor thing, but it does say something that he at least has that perspective of a professional atmosphere, even if it was in Israel. And you can't diminish the fact that since he started coaching college, he's been wildly successful. He's currently 40. He knows the Bay Area, having been a former coach at USF. With someone like Todd Golden, is that his name? I hope I got it right. Does he excite you?
Look, anything's better than Kerr, but I don't think so, because I do think, like what was said, Simon said in the chat, like having a college coach might not work with these superstar vets. I do really think that's different than getting a high pedigree assistant coach that has NBA level experience. Then I do think it does, players do see that, like, oh, this guy was an assistant on an NBA winning title team. Like that's legit. So that's why I would go for the assistant. But to talk about that Florida guy just for a second here, I do think that's in play, because I think a part of what they're trying to do is sell tickets, and they need a lot of these light years Bay Area bubble fans need like a dad to make them feel good about watching a sport that largely does not look like them or is not the same culturally. And that guy fits the bill. He actually almost like looks like Steve Kerr. And I honestly think some of these light years Bubble Boy Bay Area fans, they wouldn't even notice that it's a new coach. Like it would literally just be the same guy cracking jokes that make them feel good. So I don't really even think they would go right back to just blaming the player, blaming certain kinds of players. And so yeah, I do think it's a good idea they get that Florida guy, because they got to sell tickets.
and you're right. And the other day I literally, another show we just did recently, that one's not dating itself either anytime soon. I literally listed every name imaginable, including a whole bunch of in that age group that you're talking about. A few of them are very bright minds, whose names may or may not be familiar to you on staffs. The name, again, I don't have these names memorized at all. They're not on my radar that seriously. But I want to really quickly address a Florida Dubs fan in the chat who says, didn't Todd Golden just sign a 6-year, $7 million contract where he's getting paid $7 million annually, and he's very happy? All the reports are he ain't going anywhere. The Golden State Warriors talk, or the Todd Golden talk, depending on what you mean by Golden, needs to stop. Here's all I'll say, Florida Warriors fan, because it sounds like you're someone who doesn't want your Gators to lose Todd Golden. Everything you're hearing about him being happy, everything you're hearing about the contract, those are things said about every single coach before they're stolen from the current job. You're never going to hear them ever say, well, maybe I'll consider it. The rhetoric, it's a playbook as old as time. If you're a college coach being recruited for a new opportunity, you are going to say you're happy where you are until the time comes when you sign that contract for the new job. Don't read into anything that's going on right now. If the Warriors want him and the money's right, he's going to the Golden State Warriors. But at the same time, I'm not taking a glee, Florida Dubs fan, in the idea of your favorite coach being stolen. I'm just saying that all the indicators you're seeing now, they don't mean shit. It's if the Warriors want him and he wants to go to the Warriors, Todd Golden's going to say all these things right now, and then last second say, I love Florida, but it's time to go to the Warriors. I could be wrong. And Florida Dubs fan is saying they don't care about the Gators. They're a Warriors fan, just trying to stay realistic. Okay, then I'm telling you what the reality is. Everything you're seeing and hearing from Todd Golden about how he feels about Florida means nothing. The $7 million a year means nothing. It comes down entirely to whether or not Todd would actually want to take the leap to the NBA, whether the Warriors would want him, and then you'd have to talk money. And look, $7 million a year for a college coach is a shitload of money. You'd probably have to jack that up considerably to entice him to come to California, where the taxes are higher, cost of living is higher, and the job is undoubtedly going to be way more stressful. But what I'm also trying to say is, if we're going to be realistic, don't read into anything that's currently coming out about Todd Golden and pretend that means reality. It's just all projection. It's all just perspectives being formed. It's perception versus reality. It's that endless fight. Do you want to get to that Draymond Green comment, Armando?
Yeah, whatever.
Is now a good time?
Sure.
And before we do that, real quick, I want to give some love to our sponsor, Sunrun, who we're very fortunate to have again, who we're very fortunate that they're sponsoring the program, and they are a client who we strongly endorse, because we don't typically endorse, not typically, we don't endorse what we don't believe in here at Golden Days. And that includes the incredible financial, environmental, and ethical benefits of signing up for the nation's #1 solar company, Sunrun. My mom's already a customer. I'm a customer. And the craziest part of signing up to disconnect forever from PG&E or whatever energy company is ripping you off month after month is that there's no catch. There's no catch. You literally sign up and let Sunrun do all the work while you sit back and not only start saving on average over half of what you're currently spending on energy utilities, but you also lock into a set rate, meaning PG&E or any other utility can never raise your prices again. You're protected from blackouts, you're saving money, you're being green, and you don't have to worry about a credit check either, if that's what usually stops you from taking this amazing step toward independence and huge financial savings. So just tap that QR code right there, or visit the link in the description section of either our YouTube or podcast page to sign up. And last but certainly not least, every Golden Dazer who powers themselves through our sign-up page gets a free item of your choice from the Golden Days shop. There are some really sweet items we sell in our store, which is available on our YouTube homepage, and you get your choice of anything you want from our bitchin' shop. Help me help you. Support the program and support yourself. Sign up with Sunrun today. Armando, you're a homeowner, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Are you going to be a customer? Are you going to sign up for a Sunrun? Do you have solar already?
No.
You don't have solar right now?
No.
All right. What do I still need to say to convince you to sign up? If I haven't sold you yet.
Is that what we're doing right now? We're doing a sales call?
We're a business, Armando. You're goddamn right we are, yes.
No, I'm not interested in putting a solar roof at the moment.
Why?
I have other spending priorities.
What if I told you like you're saving money and not spending more?
I'd say I'm still not ready to do that right now.
I have to ask why. You're a logical person.
Well, I'd rather spend $10,000 on something funner. How about
what do you think there's no upfront cost? Why do you think you'd have to spend $10,000?
I don't know. I just saw that in the chat. I wasn't really paying attention to the ad.
Oh,
what's the deal?
There's no upfront cost, man. I'm being dead serious. And this is how you support the program as well for everyone out there. If you're a homeowner, there's no upfront cost. Armando, I'm guessing you spend $500 a month on utility bills. Accurate?
How much?
500? 400?
No, it's like 150, 160.
Okay. Well, that would be cut to 75. That 75 would never change. Ever. So whereas PG&E is going to jack your bill up from 150 to 250 someday in the near future, your amount would stay the same.
Wow.
We'll talk more later. Sign up for Sunrun today. That's
our plan. Let's sign it right now online. Let's do it.
Beautiful. Sign up. That's how you do it, sir. Again, we're not endorsing things we don't believe in. There's no catch here. This is a too good to be true offer. that is that good. Again, I would never sell you folks on something that's ridiculous. This is why I'm so excited about this partnership. And on that note, let's hear from Draymond Green, who on his podcast the other day took umbrage to Steve Kerr wrote in that New Yorker piece about Draymond's role in that New Yorker interview, more specifically that incident this past season where Draymond got up and left was brought up. And Draymond did not like how Steve Kerr framed that incident and talked about one of his star players. So let's hear what Draymond had to say, and then Armando and I are talking about it.
He's such a unique person. There's things he's done that I can never forgive him for, and yet I will do anything for him. When you spend 14 years with someone, when you've had the runs that we've had, playing the role that I've had to play and being who I've had to be, some things like that are going to happen. Everything hasn't just been one way. You know, it hasn't just been like, oh, man, Draymond did this, Steve's mad. I don't take that any way at all. You know, speaking of this December thing, you know, I spoke to him after that, and it was like, I don't think you like me. I don't think you've ever liked me, if I'm honest. Like, he cried. Like, really? However, what he's meant to me in my life, what he's taught me in my life, just telling them in our exit interview, the things that he's taught me about being a winner, I'm not sure where else I could have got that. I played for Tom Izzo, and Steve just took that to a completely different level, and especially showing me things about this level and winning. Like, I could never repay him for that. It's so important to who I've become. As much as he's done for me in basketball, a part of me think he's hindered me in my career and what I could have become. And when KD came from 2016 on, I have not had a play in our playbook. Not a single play that we run for me in our playbook since 2016. But if you're going to take one gripe and not be able to move past it for all the other things, then you're shallow as a person. That says more about you as a person than it does about Steve or whoever else in that instant. You got to take the good with the bad, man.
So that's Draymond on the Draymond Green show. Saying that Steve Kerr, there were tears being shed. The whole thing's weird. And then Draymond, again, publicly expressing dismay at the fact that not a single play has been called for him in 10 years as a member of the Golden State Warriors. Armando, what was your takeaway from that clip? This isn't the first time, side note, that Draymond has called out Steve Kerr publicly. He called him out just in the 2024 Olympics for DNPing Jason Tatum. Draymond has routinely done this, and I've said on record on this program, behind the scenes, Dre and Steve Kerr are not buddies. Like, they're never hanging out. This is not a relationship that extends beyond the basketball court, but the respect is clearly there. They've won 4 championships together, and Kerr also gives Draymond a shitload of leeway, which I think is why Draymond ultimately doesn't want to lose him. I think that these comments indicate that Kerr is gone. I could be mistaken on that. Armando, your thoughts on Dre's words?
Hey, Draymond, you know who won those championships? You, Steph, and Clay. You guys won those championships, not the coach. You guys did. And in that New Yorker article, he put himself on par with you and Steph. He said the 3 of us deserve to go out together because of what we did together. And, all this psychological BS about, he's holding your nuts or whatever. Like, you don't need that, man. You're a winner at life. And, any coach could come in here and make this team had made this team work, man. And it's sad to me that you haven't gotten a burner account, because I want to know how you really feel. We need the Draymond burner account, man. We need the Draymond burner account, because
I don't know if you know what's funny is I don't know if Draymond has a burner account. I'm sure, you know what? I take that back. He probably does. But the reason why I said that originally is because Dre is just one of those dudes that's authentic. Like, he'll just tell you how he feels. I don't think he needs a burner to share thoughts that he'd be afraid to say otherwise. I could be mistaken on that. It would be fascinating if his burner got out.
Yeah, that whole New Yorker article that Draymond was reacting to, like, what a joke, the racial dog whistle politics of it. Like, it was a total white man's burden thing. Like, woe is me that I'm so stressed out having to manage this circus act. And Draymond Green is the guy that I've had to deal with so much. I've literally had to, like, wrestle him physically and wrangle him and to like beat this team into submission, to like listen to my my acumen, my knowledge. And don't you, dear New Yorker audience, know how you can imagine how stressful that is. And I just don't know if I want to deal with it anymore. What a total offensive joke. And I fully think that's what Draymond was reacting to, like the idea that he was some kind of psychological problem, and like like Draymond can't say what he fully wants to say, I don't think, because he wants to get re-signed. He doesn't really want to get traded. You know, he likes living in the Bay Area, I'm assuming, like everybody does. So I think that's a little bit what's going on. He wants to be part of the organization. That means you can't come out and say it like it is. And hence
the burner.
Yeah. So I think it's what a total joke. And for people to see, I saw a comment under that New York article said, what a self-actualized person Steve Kerr is.
Correct.
What a joke. And that's the kind of audience that's geared towards. It's like people who can't really see what's going on because they don't watch the games. They just hear how somebody sounds and what they look like. So then they kind of attach intelligence to it, and emotional intelligence to it. And you know, we all saw that. We talked about this on Spreewell Was Right, you know, and the audience was, we were right there with us. We all saw through that BS. And I'm glad Draymond spoke up a little bit. People don't, you know, he had to backtrack at the end of that. But, you know, it does tell me Draymond sees what's going on with that. Like, dude, you're talking about me as the kind of circus act here that you had to wrangle in. What a offensive joke, man. I would be so pissed. I bet they're not friends.
They're not. I can assure you of that. Excuse me. Well, very well said, Professor. A solid analysis of that article and Dre's reaction to it. I do agree with your opinion that Dre wants to stay long term, and something tells me he's going to opt out of that $27 million player option. The final year of his deal, he probably wants to one final contract that's more in the 2-year range. I'm sorry, in the like a 3-year extension is what I'm guessing he's going to want, because he only has 1 year remaining, and then that would put his last year. He'd be age 30. No, he'd be 40. He turned 40 in that final year. Jesus Christ, man. Yeah, this is the hard part. When you have superstar players and we have a dynasty, it gets really tricky at the end there when these players think they can keep doing it at these advanced ages, and they want to keep getting the contracts, and they want to stay relevant, and it's unfortunate. Armando, before we go, we got to wrap it up here. Adam Adams in the chat brings up wants to call you out, Armando, because not that one, because apparently they say that, is it true that you predicted the conference finals for the Hawks? And if you did, your reaction to Adam Adams calling your prediction out?
Well, first of all, does this person have a face attached to them, or
no?
Or do they have an identity they want to put on that opinion?
Are you saying, Armando, his name is not Adam Adams?
I am saying that his name is not Adam Adams.
No identity is associated with that. Shocker, right? A Steve Kerr apologist hiding in the bushes with a mask on. Did you predict it?
I said that was their upside for sure. And,
okay. But you did not give a concrete prediction.
We were hoping, our hope was like, their goal was to get 2 wins in the playoffs. That was their goal. And, you know, when they started at the 10th seed, so when they made that trade, they were the 10th seed, and we were like, damn, hopefully they could get to the 6th. And, you know, anyways, next year, I do fully think they could be the top seed in the East for sure. I hope so, but man, they really got to make a pivot with the coach, as I talked about earlier this year. So yeah, the Hawks are incredible. They're great. I love it. They went and played small connectors that don't play defense. They did not play their wings, and that's a coaching decision.
Here are my thoughts on the Hawks real fast, if anyone cares, because I didn't really get a chance to watch them that closely until the postseason, and I watched pretty much every game of that series. And CJ McCollum, I thought, did what most aging basketball players do. They start a series strong, but like every old person, energy reserves are limited, and you saw him start to wilt as the series went along. And to me, I'm going to try to articulate this as clearly as possible. I'm not a big fan of coaches who use veterans as a crutch. Like, that to me is a sign of weak coaching. When you have a team and you decide, I trust this guy more because he's more experienced, even though he's not the most talented. Like, there is a balance to be had there. And I thought Quinn Snyder was grossly imbalanced with the CJ McCollum minutes and the CJ McCollum reliance. He is not one of the Hawks' best players. He's one of the most experienced, and he had a handful of damn good games in that series, but there are more talented players on that team. There is a very clear hierarchy of who the best players in the Hawks are, and then it kind of drops off from there. And there's a core three that I think if the Hawks want to be serious moving forward, starting with next season, they have to recognize who that core is. Your core three best players right now, if you're the Hawks: Jalen Johnson, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jonathan Kuminga. Those are your three best. Dyson Daniels, I think you could argue would be your fourth best player, but his offensive limitations were on full display in this Knicks series. He can't get buckets. He has fluky games here and there. Like in the Warriors game, for example, he was raining threes, not his MO. So his offensive limitations were on display. And defensively, he can't guard bigs because the Hawks were trying that. I saw a lot of possessions where Dyson Daniels was matched up defensively and Karl Anthony Towns, and Cat just ate him up because the size mismatch is so glaring and obvious. Dyson Daniels never stood a chance. He is not Draymond Green. He's not built like that. So Dyson Daniels right now, I'd say your fourth best player. CJ McCollum, probably your fifth best player. But CJ McCollum has to be a guy that, if you want to use him right, use him in the sense that if you need some quick points, or if you need just some sort of calming presence as the veteran with experience, give him a short run. But don't make him like you mentioned heliocentric basketball. Don't make CJ McCollum your son. Okay, he ain't son worthy, and that I thought was a huge failing on the Hawks' part. So next season, my take on the Hawks, and again, this is a Warriors show, which is why I don't talk about them that much, and I'm basing this off what I saw in that series. You got to upgrade your bigs. Okongwu, Jacques Lindell, who wasn't even healthy for this series. You got to get better there to if you want to match up with the truly great teams of the NBA. Okongwu is not it for your center. I do think you need not a traditional point guard, but you need an upgrade from CJ McCollum, like someone who can facilitate and also score, but someone who's far better than CJ McCollum. And that's where maybe trades and or free agency can help you in that department, and or maybe the draft. But to me, it starts with recognizing who your core is. And this is where I'm going to agree with you, Armando, wholeheartedly. If Quinn Snyder does not see it like this, your three best players are Jalen Johnson, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jonathan Kuminga. So next season, if those three are not starting, your coach is a problem right off the bat. I think it's clear cut. If those three are not getting the most minutes, your coach is the problem. It's clear cut. Because as Rick Barry, the Hall of Famer, said very astutely on this program, the single power that a head coach wields is minutes, is deciding who plays and who does not. Everything else is just imagery. It's just aesthetics. And when Quinn Snyder is relying on CJ McCollum, that's a problem. Like, you're not going to go far in life in the NBA with CJ McCollum as your best player. He needs to be a veteran who's a complementary piece, not the focal point of your team. And those three that I just mentioned, those three need to be your focal point moving forward. That's my Hawks take. Your thoughts as we wrap it up.
I could not agree more. And the cousins, Sprewell was right. We're saying this in the regular season when they were beating all those tanking teams. And CJ was going off. We were saying this is fool's gold. CJ's legs are not going to last for 4 wins in the playoffs. And moreover, the fact that they have to play him all the time means they're not going to have their defensive lineups in the game. They're going to end up playing 3 guards. And I think coaches, so 2 things happen. They win all those games playing that way with that lineup, with those 3 guards and CJ. And so you can't go away from it until it stops working. Otherwise, egos get hurt. So if he says that in the offseason, okay, I'm going to move CJ to the bench and hand this offense over to Kuminga and Jalen Johnson, then yeah, keep him. But if he says, no, that's how we should play, then he's got to go. He's got to go. Yeah. And CJ needs to be a backup point guard playing 20, 25 minutes a game, or you got to let him go. You got to let him go if he's not willing to do that. And the thing is, I would err on the side of firing Quinn Snyder, even if he's going to make that change and develop unleash the proper full force of this team, because he played Gabe Vincent and a 2-way center in a game 5 at Madison Square Garden. That's why those guys should not. It's a fireable offense if those guys saw any second on the floor playing 4-on-5 Podziemski style. What a effing joke.
A great NBA coach, I've realized what the definition of a great NBA coach is. You don't find yourself questioning their decisions in hindsight. Side note, and speaking of Steve Kerr, if Steve Kerr comes back, we're going to get a hell of a lot more Brandon Podziemski. If Steve Kerr doesn't come back, a good head coach plays Podziemski 10 minutes a game, maybe 15, off the bench, if at all. That's one of many, yet another reason why Steve Kerr coming back would be an absolute disaster. And great coaches, again, you don't question their decisions in hindsight. I don't remember ever questioning Phil Jackson. I don't remember ever questioning Chuck Daly. I don't remember ever questioning Pat Riley. I'm not old enough to remember watching the great Celtics coach Red Auerbach, so I have no opinion on that. Greg Popovich, I did question things every once in a while. That's why I put him below those names. And Steve Kerr, I question him all the effing time. All the time. He's constantly making rotational decisions that leave you going, what the hell is this guy doing? Does he even have is there something missing up here? What's going on? That I hope I defined that clearly in terms of a good and bad head coach. Armando, was that definition stout? And final thoughts. I'll hit the close right after you're done.
Yeah. I appreciate the show. I love everybody here. We'll be talking Hawks this weekend with Evan, and it'll be really fun. I'm very curious to see what both of these teams do in the offseason. May 10th, Everybody mark your calendars. May 10th. The lottery, where are they going to land? That's the big question mark, man. May 10th. It's back to Oracle days. We're back to rooting for the lottery, baby. I love it. That's the best part of being a Warriors.
And check out the Kristen Peak show we did earlier this week. Phenomenal if you want to get excited about prospects. Everything she said was music to my ears. Gold. It was beautiful. Armando, love you, brother. Thanks as always. Thanks to everybody. Have a great weekend. We good? We done?
We're good.
Bye-bye.